So we have to take action to change that. So we kind of, in 2021, transitioned our products all from traditional skincare products to products in bar form or in paperboard tubes, as you can see up here. We use FSC certified paperboard, which is Forest Stewardship Council certified paperboard. We print with soy and algae-based inks, so they are completely home compostable, biodegradable, literally zero waste. Our products are all plant-based ingredients, so they are also safe for the environment and safe to use if you're camping or hiking or any of those things.
Welcome to Brands for a Better World, the podcast that brings you the stories behind the people and products building a more just, healthy, and regenerative future for us all. Tune in weekly, and together, we'll learn about why these better products and brands were created, how they're helping fix broken systems, and what you can do to support them. My hope is that you'll discover some new brands to love and get some sparks of inspiration that will help you live your best life. Hi, I'm your host, Gage Mitchell, founder of Modern Species, a sustainable brand design agency helping better brands grow to scale their impact. If you like this show, please help it grow by leaving ratings and reviews on your podcast app and by sharing your favorite episodes with your friends. Maybe this will be one of them. On this episode, I'm speaking with Kelly Perkins, founder and CEO of Spinster Sisters, about their journey towards becoming plastic negative, the challenges of removing plastic from their supply chain, and why they decided to become a certified B Corporation. And finally, we wrap up with a rapid round question segment. Enjoy.
Hi, I am Kelly Perkins. I am the founder and CEO of Spinster Sisters Co. We are a plant-based, water and plastic-free skincare company. We are based in Golden, Colorado, and we're on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics in the beauty and personal care industry.
Love it. I'm excited to have you on and chat a little bit more, partly because, as we were talking about before the recording, I'm originally from Colorado, so it's nice to kind of feature hometown folks for in the show. So I'm excited to chat more about what you're up to. But with that said, I'm also excited because I know there's a lot of conversation about plastic lately, especially
Yes.
With all the research studies that have come out with how much plastic is in the air, in our water, in our food, in our furniture, and everywhere we go, right? And,
Yes.
there's so much of it that we've kind of absorbed it. We are basically becoming plastic. So
Yep.
I love companies that are taking a stance and trying to do something about it by removing plastic from the waste stream wherever they can. So I'm really excited to chat more about your Peace Out Plastic campaign. So tell me more about your journey to become plastic negative and why you feel it's so important.
When we first started Spinster Sisters, we were a much more conventional personal care line, a lot of plastic tubs and tubes and things like that. But kind of over the years, I've learned that the personal care and beauty industry generates 120 billion units of packaging every year.
Wow.
And a lot of that, we use pumps and sprayers and treatment pumps, and those are mixed plastics. So unless you have somebody, keen enough to know to pull them apart before they go in the recycle bin, they're not recyclable. So, it's astonishing how much plastic there is just generated by our industry, and you multiply that by thousands of other industries, and it's astounding. So I just kind of made the decision that I did not want to be contributing to this problem. In fact, I wanted to be taking active action to reduce it. The thing with plastics is they continue to break down and break down and break down, but they never go away. So, like you said, they're in our bloodstreams, they're in our soil, they're in our water, and they're never going to go away. So we have to take action to change that. So we kind of, in 2021, transitioned our products all from traditional skincare products to products in bar form or in paperboard tubes, as you can see up here. We use FSC certified paperboard, which is Forest Stewardship Council certified paperboard. We print with soy and algae-based inks, so they are completely home compostable, biodegradable, literally zero waste. Our products are all plant-based ingredients, so they are also safe for the environment and safe to use if you're camping or hiking or any of those things.
So you mentioned that you transitioned the packaging in 2021, but were your products always more on the, toxin-free, plant-based, et
Yes,
cetera?
yes. So I grew up in Boulder, so natural products have been a part of my life my entire life.
Right.
And I read some pretty scary articles in the 90s. I'm old, you can see. Um, so I read some pretty scary articles in the 90s about the toxic ingredients that are in personal care. And, at the time, people didn't think so much about what you're putting on your body being as important as what you put in your body. So I kind of went on a mission to find clean personal care products, and I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I hopped on my bike and I rode down to Boulder Bookstore and I bought 3 books on how to make soap and I started making soap. So it kind of started there. I was on a mission to get my friends and family to stop using toxic ingredients as well. So I was pushing it on them every step of the way. And, they started requesting different scents or different flavors. And pretty soon I had amassed quite a pile of soaps. I was kind of aching for a creative outlet at that time, and soap happened to be it. It's a really fun process. So, fast forward a whole lot of years, I met my husband. We moved from Boulder to Golden, and he said, after having to move 20 bins of soap, maybe you should try selling this. So the business kind of started by accident. I just started doing craft
Right.
fairs and farmers markets, but it took off, and I just have kind of buckled my seatbelt and went along for the ride at this point.
That's fun. Yeah, so many businesses start with someone solving their own problem and then others
Yes,
encouraging them, hey, other people have this problem too. You should sell this. And then they're just
yes.
like, okay, I guess I'll figure it out. And then from there, like you said, you kind of just buckle up and go for the ride. I'm curious, how did your product line expand as other people started chiming in and, buying your products and telling you what else they might want?
Yeah, so exactly that way. So when I first started, I was doing craft fairs, farmers markets, Boulder Farmers Market, things like that. And people would come in and say, "Will do you have lotion? Will you make a lotion?" And if enough people asked for it, I would make it. So I kind of started with soaps and then added lotions, added lip balms, things like that. So the product line just kind of grew organically that way over the years. I did eventually start opening some retail stores of my own. And of course, to fill a retail store, you have to have a lot of products. So we kind of ballooned into a whole bunch of SKUs, and now we're back into reducing to a more reasonable number. And it's a lot more scientific and data driven now than it was at the time. So now we can, look at reporting and things like that to see where there's white space and, kind of predict how new products will do. But at the time, it was literally if 5 people asked me to make a lotion, I would make a lotion. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I had thought about the retail space being the contributing factor for having tons of products too, because like you
oh,
said,
yeah,
you've
it
got
was
to
insane.
fill out the space and give people options. So that makes a lot of sense. But right now, the business landscape or times that we're in, I see a lot of people just trimming back down to the
Yes.
key SKUs that are selling, right, to get more efficiencies of scale and and try not to have too much inventory or burn too much cash flow on making products that are going to sell slowly or not at all. So
Right.
how have you gone about making some of those decisions? Are you just using your own data through your website of what's selling? Are you tracking data through retailers and what's selling?
Both. So we do, and we have some products on our website that are not sold through retail and distribution. But yeah, when we had stores of our own, we had gotten up to 250 SKUs at one point,
Oh my
which
gosh.
is insane with a small, production staff. Doing something like that was absolutely insane. But we've kind of switched our focus in 2019 to really focus on wholesale. And so pretty much since 2019, I've been cutting and cutting and cutting. Like I said, it's a lot more data driven now. So we have scan data from registers. We have, of course, our e-commerce site tells us a lot what our direct consumer customers want. And if, obviously if it's not selling well either of those places,
Yeah.
then it's got to get cut, which is frustrating to some people. And I understand that frustration, but it's kind of something that we have to do.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I've definitely been there where my, favorite lotion or something like that all of a sudden is no longer available, and now I got to go on a hunt to find another uh,
yeah.
product within that same company or another company that I can trust. So
Yeah.
I definitely get that. But what about managing new product innovation when you're trying to keep your SKUs tight? Do you still hold space for developing new products? And if so, how much time do you give them in the market before you decide whether or not to cut them?
Yeah. So we actually we're still in that SKU rationalization process. We have gotten rid of a lot of SKUs. But you have to hold space for new innovations because there's new trending ingredients. And, in hair care right now, it's rice protein, and, in face care, it's hyaluronic acid and things like that. So you have to hold space for new innovation. But, um, at the same time, you can see other products kind of dropping off, the interest in other products dropping off. So it's kind of, we have a few core SKUs that have been in our regimen since the start. But the rest of it's kind of an evolution, I should say, based on innovation and new research and things like that. Personally, my favorite part of owning this business is doing that research and formulating new ingredients. I had a buyer from Whole Foods this morning ask me to create a new product, and that fires me up because that tells me right out of the gate that there's white space for this new product and that a buyer's interested in it. So um, that part is really fun to me. You do have to be pretty careful about it though, and if it doesn't take off in 6 months to a year, then it wasn't the right fit. But thankfully, with all the scan data and things like that we have now, we are not running into that nearly like we used to. So you can kind of tell right out of the gate if something's going to take off or not. So that's really helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And saves a lot of
Yeah.
money to don't try,
Yay
launch
for
things and then pull them
data.
back. Yes. I never thought I was going to be a
Yeah.
data nerd, but here I am.
Yeah, I hear that. So back to the plastic transition a little bit. So obviously that it almost sounded like it happened overnight in 2021. You made the switch, and maybe it took a couple of years, but like, was there a long lead up to that process? Because I know a lot of companies that have been looking into moving into compostable or recyclable or whatever, but the options just weren't out there, or the cost was too much, or it
Right.
didn't work for their specific product properties in terms of like moisture barrier or something else like that, or there were issues with that material holding up in retail environments, so on and so forth. Lots of different issues, right? So
Yep.
what were some of your biggest hurdles when you made that plastic transition?
Yeah. So there's definitely been trials and learnings and all of the things. The reason that we ended up going this direction is we have been making shampoo and conditioner bars since 2014. My husband was using soap in his hair, and he has feathers instead of hair, like super, super fine hair. And I said, you can't keep using soap, hand soap for your hair. So I formulated a shampoo just for him, then tried it myself and loved it. And it was kind of one of those products that was out there and a couple people adopted it, but it wasn't a huge seller, but we kept making it because we were big users of it. It kind of started growing slowly but surely, but as soon as the pandemic hit, we saw 1,100% growth in
Oh my gosh.
shampoo bars that first year of the pandemic. So um, that made the decision a lot easier. And we started talking internally about, adoption of the shampoo and conditioner bars going through the roof. And what if we created more products that were plastic free like that? So we started the development process. I started the development process and doing the research on more products and white space again, all the things, and started formulating products. We would send it out to a bunch of our best customers, get their feedback on it, see if it's something they would use. It's a new format, and there was nobody in the US that had a product line like this at the time. So it was interesting for sure. I was definitely worried about the education piece of it and trying to get people to adopt the products. But we launched the line November 15th of 21. And by June of 22, it was already 72.4% of our sales.
Oh
So
my gosh. Wow.
consumers were clearly looking for an opportunity like this to help reduce their own environmental footprints. And thankfully, the awareness of plastic usage and the damage that it's doing just continues to grow. So, I think at the end of 2023, it was about 90% of our sales. We have a couple holdover products that we just have a lot of the plastic packaging here. So we're trying to sell through that and be entirely plastic free by the end of this year is our goal, free of virgin plastics. And yeah, there's definitely been trials. We put body butters into a paperboard box, not thinking that the oils might seep into the box. So we had to adapt and start putting them in a biodegradable glassine bag inside the box. When we first started bath bombs and shower steamers, the only plastics that we could find, or the only way we could find to package it reliably was plastic shrink film. But now we get shrink sleeves made of wood and corn fiber, so they're also home compostable. So
Okay.
there's been a lot of learning involved. Thankfully, it's become such a focus for so many people that there's a lot of new innovation coming out to
Yeah.
to kind of help ease this growth and things like that. So I think it's going to get easier and easier as time passes. But I feel
Right.
like companies have to make this commitment and make this change.
Yeah.
We have to.
And the more companies that do make the change, the easier it will be for everybody.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And we,
That's
we
interesting.
have so we're plastic negative certified. So we can control, the plastic that goes out from our warehouse to our customers, but what we can't control is what comes into our warehouse from vendors and things like that. So we weigh all of our plastic that we use, whether it's shipping tape or, all of our products come in plastic bags from our vendors, and we offset it twice so
Oh
that
wow.
we're not only trying to cover our own plastic imprint, but we're trying to help cover other companies' plastic imprint. Of course, that doesn't make the plastic go away, but it does help pull ocean waste plastics out and repurpose them for new packaging, things like that.
Yeah. And we just did an episode somewhat recently on the Repurpose Global and their
That's who I
kind
work
of
with.
plastic neutral certification. So I'll just tell everyone, we'll put a link to that episode in the show notes as well if you want to learn more about how that program works, about how they're actually pulling plastic out of the environment as part of that commitment. So it's a great organization doing some cool things. So I'm glad you're working with them.
It is an amazing organization, and it's really, not just impacting the plastic usage and all of that, but they're giving great wages to local people that wouldn't normally have solid income to help. So it's helping the community as well. So it's just incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. So thanks for supporting that great organization.
Greener, eco-sensible living is possible when we make small changes that can have a big impact. When you shop Detox, you're purchasing eye-catching, appealing, and sturdy tableware that's made from naturally fallen palm leaves. Our microwave-safe, single-use disposable tableware is completely natural and compostable. Not only is it more attractive than other disposable items, it empowers and employs a workforce of women in India. Shop dtocs.com today.
I know that as part of this whole kind of switch away from plastic, you've also been putting together a pretty robust, I think, Peace Out Plastic campaign with some great graphics. Even your bars have peace signs on it and all sorts of social media content, etc. What are some of the highlights that you've seen from that plastic campaign so far?
It's been really fun. So we had the opportunity to do Make Waves campaign with Jason Momoa's Mananalu Water.
Oh, really? Nice.
So we were part of that last year. What is really exciting to me is, our packaging is home compostable, but what if we didn't have packaging at all? So, we have been really focused on, especially with direct-to-consumer sales, but even with retail, with our bulk soaps, on naked products where we're not even using packaging at all. So it's really fun for me to see people that you wouldn't normally think will try buying products with no packaging at all, adopting it. And they'll put in an order and say the 10 bars that are unpackaged are for me, and then I bought 3 bars that were packaged that I'm sending out as gifts, So
Oh, nice.
It's kind of fun seeing that. But yeah, we've worked with some great companies on social media campaigns like High Bar and Dirty Labs, and it's just been really fun working with other founders to really try to make an impact. So, we're B Corp-certified, we're woman-owned certified, we're plastic negative certified, but working with other B Corps to try to make an impact and show the power of the B Corp and doing business as a force for good. It's just been really fun seeing the adoption of it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we have a really fun campaign launching in about a month. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah, that'll be great timing for the release of the episode. People will just be ready to check out all your socials. I assume that campaign will go out through your social medias. Do you want to just drop your handles right now while we're talking about it?
Sure. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, TikTok, all under Spinster Sisters Co. So yeah, it will go out on all the social channels. We'll be doing email marketing about it. For any of the buyers that might be on this episode, we'll be launching it at Expo West trade show. So yeah, it's gonna be really fun.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see that. So just in case, for those who are new to this whole idea of a shampoo bar, I know you talked about a little bit about how you came to start using it, but for those who are like, wait, what are you talking about? A solid shampoo? How does that even work? Can you just explain the basic idea of how a shampoo bar just fits into their daily routine?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have enough hair for like 5 people. My hair is really thick. So just keep that in mind. But so for me, I just rub get my hair wet, rub the bar in there, and then lather it up. A lot of people will just use their hands, scrub the shampoo bar on their hands, and then put it in their hair and lather it up. But it could not be easier. It lasts a long time. It's much better for your hair. There's no sulfates, things like that. So if you're coloring your hair, sulfates are what strip the color from your hair. So if you're coloring your hair, our shampoo bars are safe to use for that. But literally, you just create a lather with it, rinse it out, and you're done. And no plastic bottles, no plastic waste. So it's really nice. We also have conditioner bars. For me, one conditioner bar lasts about the same amount of time as 3 shampoo bars. The
Oh,
conditioner
wow.
lasts a really, really long time, but it's a great product as well. And again, you can, with the conditioner bar, a lot of people with longer hair will just hit the ends of their hair to keep the ends moisturized, but you can do your whole head however you like.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that the conditioner bar would last that much longer, but how long does the shampoo bar last, like in comparison to a bottle of shampoo, liquid shampoo?
So we say one shampoo bar is equal to 2 bottles of shampoo.
Oh, wow.
So it will last
Okay.
about 2 months.
Great. And then what do you attribute the spike in sales around bars during the pandemic? Was that a sustainability play? People were just wanting to reduce plastic and toxins and whatever else because they're worried about the virus, or like a health or sustainability play? Or was it like all of a sudden there was some good press and celebrities were using shampoo bars and then it just became part of public awareness?
Yeah, so I think it's all those things. I think people had more time on their hands to do research. I think a lot of people wanted to start making an impact before the pandemic, but daily life gets in the way. So life kind of slowed down a little bit for a lot of people during the pandemic. They were home and had time to do research and look at things like that. Um, you know, I was one of those weirdos that was wiping off groceries as they came in from the grocery store.
Yeah,
So I think I don't know, I just think that people were, like you said, more focused on sustainability and doing things the right way. It kind of changed everybody's mindset for the better, I think.
yeah, I have seen some data about health in general being more important during the pandemic because if
Yeah,
you're worried about getting sick, of course you're going to pay more attention to your health. And then if you're at home and have access to your kitchen, maybe you're going to cook a little healthier and maybe make more things from scratch rather than going out to lunch or ordering food
yeah,
as
for
much as you
sure.
would if you were out of the office. So I think from that standpoint it makes sense, but like all of a sudden the explosion of shampoo bars or whatever like kind of fits into that. But I also feel like, to your point, there's probably just a little bit more research because I think laundry detergent strips started exploding around the same time, right? So maybe
Yep,
people were just starting to think about what do we have in the house and like what's really necessary. Like, do we want all these
right.
chemicals? Do we want to ship all this water across the country? This jug's really heavy to carry. Like, there's just all sorts of questions that maybe started popping up, and people had the time and they were at home 24/7. So they were staring
Well,
at
and I mean, look at all the research that came out too, without all the traffic, how much pollution
right.
cleared up. And, there was just such a huge impact and things that you wouldn't even think about during that time. That, yeah, it's been really interesting for sure. I was astounded at the change in people's usage of products during that time for sure. And happy.
Absolutely.
I think people are much more conscious, like you said, about healthy and better for the environment now than they were before.
Absolutely. Who would have thought a global health crisis could actually be a good thing? And I'm not saying, all the people who got really sick or passed away is a good thing, but for those who are still with us, like having that realization that, oh, actually, maybe I should get off this kind of default path and think a little bit more about how I'm living into my best life. And maybe I should get healthy. Maybe I should think of a career transition. Maybe I should spend more time with my kids. Maybe I should log off of work.
And, all of our impacts on the environment and on the planet, just, it's such a big thing. And it makes me really happy that people are kind of adjusting their lifestyles now, for sure.
Absolutely. So another thing you mentioned too that's relatively new is your B Corp certification. So how did that come onto your radar? Why did you decide to pursue that, and what did you learn during that process?
B Corp certification for me was the best thing I've ever done for my business. So
Oh,
again,
wow.
I kind of grew up around natural products and things like that. So I was kind of on that path already to start with. But a B Corp certification is not just looking at your products and your packaging, it's looking at how you treat your employees, what you do for your community, greenhouse gas emissions, packaging and things like that definitely comes into play. But it's a holistic approach to your company that impacts so many more things than what you're thinking about when you start a company by accident. So,
Yeah.
like before our B Corp certification, we didn't have employee benefits. I didn't think I could afford employee benefits. Now we have
Right.
a really comprehensive benefit program with paternity leave and volunteer hours. We do quarterly, as a team, quarterly volunteer events. And it's just changed everybody's mindset about you're not just coming to work, you're coming to make a difference. I it's hard to explain it, I guess, but when we do volunteer events, we just have so much fun. It's a great team building opportunity. They're much more engaged in work now that they now have partial ownership. They have
Oh,
uh,
wow.
paid sick time, health benefits, all the things. So it's easier for them. And it didn't really, for me, have a big cost impact on the company. Um, we have had a steadier workforce here, which is hard to achieve at a manufacturing position. We haven't had much turnover since before the pandemic. So it's really changed the turnover rate with my employees. It's made them feel more ownership in what we're trying to build together. And I think they're just much more engaged in the company. So I cannot recommend B Corp highly enough. It took us a year and a half. It's a ton of work. A lot of it was policies that we already had in place, like bereavement leave and things like that, but we just didn't have it written down somewhere. So,
Right.
it's a lot of it is just kind of getting your reporting and things like that in place. But the impact on the business was fantastic. Highly recommend for everybody.
That's amazing. You mentioned obviously that it was great for your team. What about for consumers, maybe your retail customers or partners like the Jason Momoa opportunity you got to collaborate on? Has the B Corp certification kind of aided those areas as well?
Absolutely. I would say for a consumer, not everyone knows what B Corp certification is. So it has an impact for those people that are really trying to make a conscious impact on the environment and on their lifestyles. A lot of those people know what B Corp is, but not necessarily everyone. It definitely has an impact with our retailers. Um, there's a lot of retailers out there that are really trying to reduce their impacts as well. So if they can get companies like us on board that have a social mission, it helps them kind of quantify what their impact is as well. So I think, from the retailer perspective, absolutely. From the consumer perspective, I think a lot of people know what it means and gravitate towards that. But there are definitely some people that don't know what it means.
Awesome. Yeah, as a B Corp myself, I've found as well that beyond all the benefits you described, it's also just a great community of other
Yes.
impact-driven business leaders. So, for example, coming up in March, I'll be going to the Champions Retreat for U.S. and Canada up in Vancouver, BC, and even just planning the trip up there with our fellow Washington B Corps or other B Corps that I'm always hanging out with at trade shows like Expo West. Just like planning for it's exciting, right? Just getting the chance to hang out with everybody, but it's a very collaborative community. It's people like working.
That's what I was just going to say. The collaborations are amazing.
Yeah, and you walk into that room and everyone's kind of in the same mindset of looking for more ways that we can make our businesses better for our people and for our customers and for the world. So a lot of camaraderie and a lot of great ideas that come out of that for ways to improve our businesses.
Yeah, agreed.
And for people looking for a little bit more on B Corp, we also have, I think it was episode 30 with B Lab, talking about how brands are using or becoming B Corps or how they're using that in some of their marketing and stuff. So check that episode out as well. My business for 15 years, and I would say echo a lot of the same advice that sometimes you don't feel like as a small business you can do all the things the right way because you're thinking like, well, I got to wait until I'm bigger. But my theory has always been build the business model now while you're small so that as you scale, those benefits and other kind of impact efforts can scale with you. Because if you try to make big changes and add benefits or give equity or whatever when you're thousands of employees, like that's going to be a much bigger lift than when you're 2 employees or something. So my feeling is when you're small, while it seems difficult to make that reach and be kind of better for your team or be more sustainable, I would argue that it's actually the perfect time to do it because you can design it into your business model before you scale your model.
Exactly.
So I
like new employees idea. Now we have an orientation that covers all of it. So like you said, it's much easier to handle now. Yes.
Perfect. Great. All right. Well, let's dive into a rapid round session here before we wrap up. So just have a few quick questions. Feel free to answer them super fast, crack a joke, whatever. I'll maybe follow up with some stuff, but hopefully it'll be fun. So first off, I was poking around on your products, and I'm just curious, if you had to pick one, would it be bath bomb or shower steamer?
Shower steamer.
Ah, nice. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so who's your favorite body care brand besides Spinster Sisters?
I think Pacha. Pacha soap is my favorite. They have a very similar vision and ethos as we do. They're doing things right, and I appreciate that.
That's cool. Maybe there's a future collaboration with Pacha coming up then. And I know we talked about earlier that you're based in Golden, Colorado, which is my hometown or originally from kind of the Arvada Golden area. But I know that since I left the state, the explosion of everyone wearing Colorado branded everything is just amazing. It's like hard not to see somebody wearing a Colorado t-shirt, Colorado hat, Colorado koozie, Colorado something. So how many Colorado branded pieces of clothing do you own?
I'm one of the weirdos that doesn't. I still have jerseys and stuff from my high school, or, I went to CU, so I have a couple CU Buffs things, but I don't have a ton of Colorado branded stuff, which is weird because I've been here my whole life. So
yeah, you're one of the holdouts. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe it's the newer people that are excited. I don't know. Okay, so since this show is all about impact-driven brands and leaders, who's an impact-driven leader you admire and why?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot more companies with social missions now. I personally, there's an actress, Amy Aquino, that is doing Baby Steps to Green on Instagram and just teaching people about how to reuse plastics and life hacks and things like that. Nancy Whistle is also doing the same thing on Instagram, teaching people how to make their own natural cleaners and things like that. So I love, those influencers that are out there that are trying to help people be able to make good decisions and hacks in their own homes. I think that can have a lot of impact. But, all the B Corps that are out there, and even companies on a social mission without a B Corp, there's just so much impact out there. There's too many companies to name.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned the influencers, though, because I feel like this era of kind of being famous and making money off of just your social presence is a little bit weird and foreign to me. But when I find the ones like that are actually using that reach and using the money or the power or the kind of influence to try to better people's lives, I really appreciate that because for me, when you have power, I feel like it comes with the responsibility to use it wisely. But some people just blow it on like, oh, I'm going to get fancy cars and go live the high life, and all my content's going to be about me on private jets. Whereas the people who are like, you know what, I'm going to use this platform to talk about plastic, or I'm going to use my money to give a bunch of groceries away to people in this grocery store or something like that. I love when people do that.
Me too. Yep.
Amazing.
There's a lot of people out there trying to do things the right way and make an impact, and I love it.
For sure. So this podcast was called Evolve CPG, and now is called Brands for a Better World. So I'm just curious, what does better for the world mean to you?
I think just, taking a conscious approach to living, I love that name change, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Love it. Taking a conscious approach to how you live your life, how, like Amy says, to take baby steps. Every little baby step that you make is impacting the world for the better. So you don't have to change your entire life to plastic free today. You just have to start the journey. And what I have found, and several other people that I've talked to have said, once you start making that change, it really makes you realize like how much plastic you're using, how much plastic there's in your home. When I started making plastic-free skincare products, I started going, but all this packaging for groceries that I'm buying is in plastic. So now I try to buy bulk and I try to buy paper packaging, and it just kind of invades your life a little bit in a good way, though. And you feel good about it. So
yeah,
I think it's great.
Reminds me, I can't remember where I originally heard it, but there was a funny quote from a TV show or something that said, there are some things you can't unsee. And, and it kind of reminds me of that, right? Once you start thinking about waste, you can't unsee it. It's like every time I go to put something in the trash bin and I'm like, oh, but does it have to go in the trash? Can I put it in the compost? Can I put it in recycling or whatever? And I just have this moment of like, why did I even buy this in the first place? Or why did they have to package it with all this? And it's just kind of these moments where once you're aware of it, you see it everywhere.
Yes. I went to an event that had, and keep in mind, I'm landlocked in Colorado, but I went to an event that had all these 6-packs of water and things like that. So I went through and I took off all the plastic rings and cut them up so that they're not turtle chokers, even though we're in Colorado, because they might make their way to the ocean. So it's little things like this that it becomes kind of all-encompassing, but like I said, in a good way.
Yeah, I'm one of those annoying people that when I see trash on the hiking trail, I pick it up and carry it.
Pick it up. Yeah, me too.
So I'm right there with you. I love it. And then I would also just add one of the things our listeners probably hear me say all the time is progress over perfection. So just kind of like you were talking about with the baby steps, don't feel overwhelmed with all the changes that need to happen. Just pick one thing and make that one change today. And then, pick another next week or tomorrow or whenever you feel comfortable again. But it's amazing how quickly those baby steps add up to big change.
Yes, absolutely. Could not have said it better myself.
Perfect. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and wrap up there because I see we're at time. So I just want to say, thanks for going on this journey of trying to create better products and then find better ways to package them. And then, using that influence to share better ways of doing things with your audience. So back to kind of talking about influencers, I'd put you in that category of like, you have the power to make some change and shift other people's habits and cultures. So you're using that power for good. I appreciate that. And then of course, as fellow B Corp, go team, and hopefully I'll see you at the Champions Retreat.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be on here, and I really enjoyed talking to you.
Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. To learn more about Kelly or her business, visit spinstersistersco.com and find them on social media at Spinster Sisters Co. If you like this show, remember to help us grow by liking, reviewing, and sharing. If you're new here, don't forget we have over 100 episodes in the archive. Some might be called Evolve CPG, but it's the same show, so dig in for more goodness. If you consider yourself an impact-driven professional, join me over at impactdriven.community, where we're supporting each other's growth as impact leaders.